Okay, so you're all welcome to a new trading week. Yeah, so last week was really very volatile. We have a couple of central bank announcements. We have the Bank of England and we have the RBA, so that's the central bank in Australia, who increased their interest rate. But despite that, we saw their currencies still plummet few hours after the release of the event. And in the last update, I told us the reason for that. So the two of them increased by 50 basis points, and it now looks as if the market is that's kind of priced in anything 50 to 75 basis points. So the market is expecting more, right? So anything less than what the market is looking at, maybe anything less than 175 now, it looks like it's kind of dovish, okay, on the currency. So aside that, we also have the issue of a recession, okay, that is trying to creep into the different major economies. So the last GDP figure released by the US quarterly GDP figure shows that the US economy for the second quarter of the year didn't really do well. Okay, there was no expansion, there was a little bit of contraction. And that was the same case in the first quarter of the year. So technically, the US is in some kind of recession, technically. And so I think the market, because of that, the market is looking at it like maybe the banks are going to slow down the pace of this tightening that they've been doing. Okay, so that's actually the baseline sentiment behind what the central banks are doing. Okay, but personally, I think the central banks will going to continue to hike for the rest of the year. They're going to continue to hike the interest rate, but I still believe that it's not. I think the market has priced in a lot of that. All right. So we're going to look at, of course, apart from the central bank event, we have the job figures in Canada and the US last week as well. The US job report, the NFP non-farm payroll, was really very good. That was about double. All right, that was like look at last week. So that was like double of what the market expected. The market was expecting around I think 2050 or so. 250,000 jobs. Okay, right here. Okay, 150,000 jobs. And that came by 528. So that was a very massive deviation. So we've talked about this deviation before. So that was why the dollar jumped up across the board. And in addition to that, we also have the unemployment rate dropped 3.5%. So the dollar ended the week very positive last week, coupled with a very nice PMI figures also. All right. 56.3 greater than what the market expected. But the major thing is actually on the non-farm period, the employment reports, okay, which shows that although the US is technically in some kind of recession, all right, but the job market is still really very vibrant, very positive. And despite the inflation is up at 9.1%, the economy is not really feeling so much of that. And we even so the US can still be optimistic that in the second half of the year, that should be some form of economic expansion. So the GDP should be able to improve. Okay. So that's just what we had last week. And but early today, we've seen the dollar trying to make some bearish correction all across the board. We've seen euro US dollar jumped up, JP US dollar up, dollar yen, dollar CHF down, dollar CAD down. So dollar has been kind of negative today. So let's look at the key events, okay, that we're expecting this week, and then afterwards we can then talk about the different we can then go to the charts and see if there are opportunities, okay, we can grab out those areas. We can look for opportunities, at least from a technical perspective, right? So we're going to go to this week and okay, apply settings, and then I'm going to filter this. I only want to see these two. All right. Okay, so we don't have so much of economic events this week like we had last week. So maybe the volatility this week might be reduced, okay, a bit compared to what we had last week. Okay, about in spite of that, or having said that, we have an inflation figure for the US on Wednesday. So this time now, in this current of high inflation, the market is very, very sensitive to inflation figure. All right. Currently, the US are 9.1% inflation. So for the last month, the market is expecting 0.2% increase in the retail prices of things, and the core CPI at 0.5% higher than the previous month. So let's see what happens if this adds to a higher inflation rate to the US, then definitely we might see the US dollar jump up further. All right, because the market is going to see that um as a clue, okay, for the United States to increase the interest rate even more aggressively. So I think the market is going to react positively if to the dollar, all right, if the inflation rate, if the CPI figure causes the inflation rate to go higher. So please watch out for that on Wednesday. And even when you look at the chart, if you look at the US dollar chart, you will see that the US dollar seems to be completing a correction. And so let's go look at the US dollar charts, because we were able to get what the US dollar is doing. You can use that to trade the major currency pairs, right? You can use that to trade the major currency pairs. So let's look at what the US dollar is doing, for at least from a technical perspective. So this is the US dollar here, and I'm looking at it from, all right. I'm looking at it from the daily chart. So you can see this also happened last Friday. So last week, the week started with this big move. We had some bearish correction, and we saw this big move, bullish move again. And it looks like this correction here might have ended, all right? It might actually have ended, because in the long term, the dollar is still bullish. So you see this break here, bullish break correction, price continues. Bullish, two candle bullish break correction, price continues, and price has corrected to this demand zone right here and responded with a bullish candle. And so I do really think that the dollar is going to gain more momentum. So even on Tuesday, okay, that event is on Tuesday, right? On Wednesday, rather. So if the inflation rate in the US gets worse, I think we're going to see the dollar jump higher, and then we can then see the S&P 500 drop. So that means that's going to be an opportunity to sell Australian dollar, US dollar, New Zealand US dollar, buy USD CAD, buy USD yen, sell GBP dollar, sell Euro US dollar. Okay. So if that happens, okay, the dollar looks kind of bullish. Okay. And we might actually see it continue this week. Okay. So apart from, so please take note of that. All right. Take note of that. And so let's go back to what we have here. So apart from that, we also have the PPI figures on Thursday. That's also an inflation report. Okay, but it's not really as important as the CPI. Okay, so the next big event that the market is going to look forward to will be on Friday. That's the GDP figure in the UK, and then the market is expecting a contraction as well for the United Kingdom economy, for the British economy, okay, for the second quarter of the year, just like we have for the US. And then we can actually look at because when the GDP figure for the US was released, we saw the dollar and the S&P 500 dropped a bit, okay, before they full up that bullish momentum in and recover. Okay, so if the GDP figure comes worse than expected, I mean, much worse than expected, or maybe around that -2% or something for the monthly GDP, or maybe around that minus 0.5% or something for the preliminary quarterly GDP. And I think that should be a selling opportunity for the GBP, for the British pound across all the GBP peers. So please watch that. We also have the consumer sentiment preliminary for the last month, expected at 52.5. Okay, that could also add to some momentum. That could also add to the momentum for the dollar on Friday. So these are the key events you should look forward to. All right, you could trade them if you're able to get some good price deviation, and of course, just apply your technical analysis as well, so that you can pick the right entries, okay, and the stop loss, and then you can take a meaningful profit. And I also want to advise that if you're trading any of these, even if deviation is good, don't stay too long on the trade because sentiment in the market can quickly shift, and the profit that you see might start getting back and the market collecting it back. Okay, so just maybe after the first 2 hours, just trade within that first 2 hours and then close, and then move on to the next thing. Okay, so let's now look at what we are. So those are the events that we have next week. All right. So let's now look at what we have from the technical angle, and actually from the chart patterns, which is what we have been learning for some time now in our intermediate class. Last week I shared some setups with us that I think where we could actually get good trading opportunities. So the first one here I'm showing today is the GBP New Zealand dollar. That was a fake breakout here. So this is what I call a fake setup, where you have a double top or a triple top and price breaks above it and then comes down and makes a correction. So this is where the pattern starts from. So what I'm thinking is, if the price can get back to this zone here, this is where I'm going to look for a bearish opportunity. All right, around here. Okay, when I mean bearish opportunity, you can confirm this with go to your lower time frame, 15, 30 minutes, and look for reversal price pattern there, or you look for a very nice bearish candlestick pattern, maybe bearish engulfing that is big enough, or bearish pima that is big enough, and then you can write it down to this place. So that's like usually this kind of setup give about 6.5 risk reward ratio. Okay, that's what I usually target on this, and target used to be around here. All right, so target used to be around here. So that's it. That's if it works out as expected. And then the euro dollar is giving us this triangle. All right, we talked about triangle pattern. So you see price makes this move here, bullish move. You have this A, B, C, D, E just completing. It could be that the E has completed here. I couldn't really get any opportunity because at the end of this E, I couldn't get any reversal pattern on the 15-minute time frame. So I'm waiting for one more leg down to this place below 1.0150. And then when price gets there, if I'm able to see a bullish reversal pattern on the lower time from a very nice bullish candlestick pattern on the maybe 2 hours, 1 hour, or even 4 hours, then I think we can take a bullish opportunity towards this place. Okay, although you say that that doesn't really correlate with the fact that we're expecting the US dollar to go up. Okay, but the key thing is, even when you look at even when you watch what the market is doing concerning fundamentals and stuff like that, it's still really very important that you just get focused on your technical methods, right? You just have to get focused on your technical methods. So if I see a very nice bounce around there, I'm going to buy euro US dollar. Okay, because although we say dollar might go up, but that's not really written, that's not cast on the stone. All right, so the market can still do anything, and so we can always rely on our chart patterns and just focus on our own game plan, trade plans. And so the dollar yen pushed up just like we expected. We talked about the dollar yen pushing towards this area last week, and it's really doing that. So if we're able to pick in some trades or thereabout, it's about close to 300 pips already, okay, on the way up. And then we also said that when price gets here, we should be anticipating a head and shoulder pattern. All right, head and shoulder, head, and the second shoulder. And usually what I do is that when price get to this, because I've marked this area, okay, this area of congestion, which is just a bit above the top of the first shoulder. So what I think we should look forward to here is some reversal patterns. Diagonal pattern, head and shoulder pattern, and all those reversal pattern, maybe triple top, just to confirm. You can check the lower time frame to see what the price is doing around there. You can see my own here. I'm already anticipating a wedge pattern, which is my favorite, a diagonal. But I'm not going to stay there alone. All right. I'm kind of open-minded. It doesn't have to be a diagonal. It could be a head and shoulder. It could be a triple top. It could even be a very big candlestick reversal pattern on the hourly charts, hourly time frames. Okay, so take note of that. If I'm able to see a very nice opportunity, if I'm able to get an opportunity to sell around here, and price happens, moves in our favor, the target is going to be around there, and you know what the risk reward of such a trade is, right? risk reward can really be very big. Let's even say this is how it is, and has a potential 5 to 6 risk reward depending on what triggered the sell opportunity here. Okay, what pattern triggers the sell opportunity here? It can even be tighter than this depending on what pattern that triggers it. So please take note of that. It's already here. We're looking for reversal signal around there. If you don't get it, then we just allow this to go and then look at it from a different perspective. Okay, so New Zealand US dollar here in the last update also with talked about this bullish head and shoulder, right? Bullish head and shoulder that is currently ongoing, okay, still in the formation stage on the New Zealand US dollar. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. And after this, price had a fake breakout there with a wedge. We talk about a diagonal, or it's also called a wedge, a diagonal, and we saw price move back into this zone. So this is a kind of fake out zone. There's a kind of fake breakout of this double bottom, near double bottom zone. And I do really think that price is going to get there. Although price is around there now, but I can't really find any reversal signal yet. So that's why I think it will actually go a little bit more, okay, to this space, and then we can find some reversal signal afterwards, you know, to buy upward. So these are setups that can give very, very big risk reward ratio if they happen to work out fine. So even if you're able to get like 4 or 5 setups like this in a month, that's going to be massive because the risk reward is 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 7, 1 to 8, and more. All right. So please take note of this as well. All right, this head and shoulder. So the other part of this, if price doesn't really get down, we don't find a reversal, that means we can't really buy off the second shoulder. Then we're going to switch on the other alternative entries, like wait for a breakout, then buy the retracement or something like that. And it's just that the risk reward ratio wouldn't really be as big as if I'm able to get a reversal signal off this demand zone here. Okay, we look at US dollar, Japanese yen. So so let's look at Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, same thing as New Zealand dollar. We're having head and shoulder, head, shoulder, head, shoulder. And I was initially thinking price was going to get here, okay, so that we can look for reversals and no reversal signal here as well too. So if price is not able to break out here, we can wait for retracement buy. All right, can wait for retracement buy, you know, something like this. Price breaks out, 50% retracement buy, and then we take target here or take target here. Okay, that's the case. But if I want to just buy the breakout without waiting for retracement, because sometimes you wait for retracement, you might not be able to get in again. The risk reward ratio is not really that good. All right. But if you wait for retracement, like 50% retracement, you can see that's going to boost the risk reward ratio, right, to around that 4.06. So it all depends on what you want to, what you actually want. All right. So GBP CHF. Now, GPCHF is giving us a triangle, just like I said in the last update, a triangle A, B, C, D, E. You know, in the last update before the BOE report, actually, you know, we suggested that we might see it deep down to this place. All right. We said that if the BOE goes with the 50 basis point rate hike that the market expected, that the GDP is most likely going to drop. And so we saw the GDP dropped. And I also said that we might not really see a follow through after that. Okay, so we've not really been able to see follow through after that so far, okay, since that event on last week. So if we are able now, so with what is happening on this chart now, it looks like we're having a triangle pattern. So I'm going to wait for price to make another move up to this maybe right here, to cover up some of these imbalances between these different candles, maybe up to 1.0, 1.17, or maybe a little bit below, to complete this E, and I wait for reversal signal, and then that can then give a very nice selling opportunity. Okay, very nice selling opportunity. Down, 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 right? Down, yeah. So that could give a very good trading, very high risk reward ratio trade. So you can see price goes down, it goes sideways, and then it should be able to continue the impulse move. So please take note of that as well. So a similar case on EuroCAD, sideways triangles also. I think I'm going with this triangle. The other time I gave us different scenarios like a zigzag completing here. All right. We talked about a zigzag, maybe kind of zigzag completing around here somehow. We just price goes up this way and you find the rejection and just drop. Okay, I'm still keeping that on the table. It's not really off the table because this is a really, really very key zone, which might actually attract might really be attractive. Okay. So those that want to sell, they might not really want to sell here. They might believe that there are still some orders ahead, and then maybe take out all of this. And then if we're able to see rejection here, then we can sell. But that, like I said, that's on the table. All right. But currently, it's really very clear that EuroCAD is sideways. So we still have 2 more legs to go for this triangle completes, and then we can sell. So please take note of that as well. And then we have CAD CHF. In the last update, we look at CAD CHF, and we looked at this expanding diagonal here with the end and shoulder completing it, and there was a buying opportunity there, right? And so currently, afterwards, price make this sharp move downwards, and I actually talked about that we might see a really sharp move downwards, okay, to give us maybe another head and shoulder here, right? And so price is able to pick up here, break above here, that can give another trading opportunities, okay, for buyers, maybe buy at retracement up to 0.76. I still think this can go to 0.76, but let's see how it goes. So 0.76, which means those that are in here, if you have closed the trade high, are still really good. That's around the 1 to 3 risk reward ratio, not bad at all. Okay, for those holding on, if the price doesn't really come down to clear off this stop loss, there's a potential of getting a 1 to 8 risk reward trade from 1 to 5 to 1 to 8. All right. So it all depends on what your trading objectives are. Okay, just start with what is convenient for you. Take maybe if you are starting out, just maybe 1 to 3 risk reward is convenient for you, just take it. 1 to 4 is convenient, just take it. All right. As time goes on, you start learning how to take higher risk reward trading opportunities. Okay, but for this one, I think there's still a chance that CAD CHF pushes up to 0.776 until price comes down to break below here. And then the pound dollar, like we talked about in the last update also, we looked at the pound dollar coming down, okay, to this area after that BOE report. All right. So it's still ongoing with that, and I'm trying to see this as an ABC setup, okay, although it's not really that clean enough at the moment. So I'm looking at price coming down to around 61.8% retracement of this one here. Okay, so maybe down to, of course, around there below 1.2, maybe 1.1950 thereabout. So between 1.2 and 1.1950, I think the pound dollar can get that down. I mean, down to that level, okay, before we see a bullish push. This also looks like an head and shoulder, right? So you see the shoulder here, you see the head here, and then you see the shoulder here. If this happens, I'm just going to wait for bullish reversal signal here on the lower time frame. And now this is a kind of trade that can give massive risk reward ratio. Okay. So price gets here and we're able to see some reversal signal there on the lower time frame. And that means we'll have the opportunity to get in early. And if the price moves up as expected, then target is going to be around here, okay, to complete this diagonal. Remember, we had this big diagonal, okay, the one diagonal that ended with a diagonal. And normally when you have this kind of diagonal, the target is the initial target is around the second leg of the diagonal, first leg, second, third, fourth, fifth, right here. And then the other one is at the starting point of the diagonal. So I still really do think that pound dollar can get to this zone here. All right, around 1.26, okay, or a little bit higher. So if price gets and we're able to find an opportunity there, then that's going to be a really massive risk. So I'm going to give you guys more update on that on the WhatsApp group, and of course daily market analysis, daily video analysis like this. So Euro GBP, we also look at Euro GBP climbing up right after price completed this diagonal. So we talk about this diagonal within the diagonal. Share this setup with us, and price come down. So we now also said that the breakout here just confirmed this diagonal. Finding an entry here was just a way of getting in early. Okay. But now the diagonal just completed with this breakout. And oftentimes to find a better entry, wait for 50% retracement. So you can either sell at a 50% retracement with stop loss here and targeting much lower here. Because if you go to the lower time frame, you would see that you would see another ending diagonal on the lower time frame, which makes it look like Euro GBP is quite very vulnerable to the downside. All right. So this is the lower time frame. This is the higher time frame rather. This also looks like an head and shoulder right here, right? And this looks like a reversal pattern. Looks like a reversal pattern. And once price breaks below here, I think we could actually see multi-week, multiple days of Euro GBP falling and falling and falling up to 0.78. We don't really know what's going to trigger that yet. What is going to trigger the Euro to fall or the GBP to rise? But we'll still have to see. But technically, we are getting that warning ahead of time. Okay. Then we'll see a break below here. And on the 4-hour time frame, we are looking for opportunity, okay, to getting into that. So if you don't have a trade here already with your stop loss here, I know a lot of you will have cashed out, will have closed down these trades, okay, with all this problem. So we should be able to get another opportunity to sell. So retracement to 50 to 61.8% of this move here is really high, highly likely. All right. Okay, but what I want to see is I want to see a proper zigzag. I'm looking at the opportunity. I mean, a case whereby I'll be able to get a tight entry around there so that I can boost another very big risk reward trade, so that I can get another very big risk reward trade. So, but that's going to happen if we see another pattern here. All right, maybe a zigzag pattern like A, B, C, and we'll see a reversal signal here, then we can sell down. Okay, that's one way. Another way is just to sell. Just once price gets here, you can sell here with stop loss here, and targets way lower. So that means you will have to really wait for many days or maybe even a few weeks for such trades before you can complete. Okay, because this is the 4-hour time frame. So this might take maybe 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks to complete this. I don't know how many of us have been in that kind of trade before. All right. But of course, you can take your profit at any time. Okay. At least you're able to get 1 to 3 risk reward. It's good. So please take note of Euro GBP as well. And then the Euro Yen. Yeah, the Euro Yen has broken out of this head and shoulder. We talked about the Yen pairs going up, right? I've been talking about them. And so Euro Yen has gone up, broken up. If you traded the breakout of this, you'll have made maybe some money, right? Especially if you look at it from the lower time frame, because the bigger structure was a zigzag, right? This was a zigzag, and then this confirmation structure was this head. There was the first head and shoulder that we share on the group last week, right? For those of you who took it, will have taken maybe like 150 pips or thereabout from there. Of course, stop loss, yeah. And there's still potential for it to go higher. And for those of you who took this one instead, this is another head and shoulder. Okay, this is another head and shoulder here. All right. For those of you who took this as well, maybe we'll have taken maybe some 50, 60, 80 pips or something. Okay, so there is still a very high likelihood of price rising higher. Okay, rising higher. So I think if you want to trade this head and should want to find another entry, okay, for this, I think you should wait for 50% retracement and buy. So this is a situation in the market where you have multiple entries, okay, along a premeditated direction. So we have a bullish buyers on Euro Yen, and you're buying at different levels. So you bought here. Let's say you even bought here, you determined to buy around here while adjusting the stop loss for this one. So this is how you accumulate profit, okay? And then at the end, you might actually take maybe 500, 600 pips from this if price is able to get to this point, and then you cash out. Okay, so that's the outlook for this. So if you've not been able to get a buy here, or you didn't get a buy here, you can wait for a retracement, okay, to around that 50% retracement around 36.7. All right, 1 or 7 2 to look for another buying opportunity. Of course, stop loss is going to be below here. All right, 135.54 or 50. And then you can take things higher to 139.5 or maybe even 130, 140. All right. So that's the plan on euro yen. So it all depends on where you find the entry. So similar case for New Zealand yen. So we've not really been able to get a proper reversal signal on this one. All right. So I was thinking price was going to get here before buying up, taking a buy. All right. But so the best entry for this one will have been here when we have this very big bullish reversal candle. You can see the engulf how many candles, 1 2 3. That was like been the best entry. So if you are able to get an entry there, I think you should be able to hold. You should hold on to take more. All right, maybe 1 to 3, 1 to 4 risk ratio from that. We've not really been able to get an entry. I don't think there is any form of reversal signal here. So the only case to where I will consider a fresh buying opportunity on New Zealand yen if the price gets a retracement back to 83. Okay, if it gets to 83, all right, that's when I'll consider. But overall, this looks like a currency pair that's going to continue to go higher. Okay, Aussie yen also just similar case here as well. So we talked about this one also, and then it's pushing up. Okay, so the next thing is going to be when price gets here. I already have my alarm here. We're going to have a diagonal there. So watch out for this diagonal in the next maybe coming days, or maybe this week or next week. We don't really know exactly when that is going to complete. Just make sure that you take note of this diagonal around that 98 psychological level or 97.5. Okay, so wait for reversal there, and then we can activate the next cell, or join the next cell down to this place. Okay, so but in the meantime, this is just almost like what we have for the New Zealand yen. There was no reversal signal like that unless you were able to get in on the 15 minute when we have this head and shoulder here. So it was, if you're able to get in with this head and shoulder, you can see that was where I got into this trade, this head and shoulder here, although it was really very tiny. And at first I was a bit shaky about it. So you can see that's around 4.2 risk reward ratio now. So there is really a very big gain when you identify a big pattern a pattern on the higher time frame, and then you look for confirmation on the lower time frame. So among all of them, this like the best in terms of risk reward ratio, then followed by euro yen, all right, which was able to give us different entry levels at different points, although we couldn't really get in here because this pattern they didn't give a proper this one here. They didn't give a proper wedge, not even a head and shoulder. It's not really that clear. All right. But at least we're going to get an entry here, maybe even the 50% entry. All right. So the same case for CAD Japanese yen. Look at this CAD Japanese yen also. Look at this head and shoulder, although I didn't take this one. Look at another head and shoulder here, shoulder edge. This is where you'll have found your entry. So the bigger pattern on the 4-hour time frame was this very beautiful zigzag here. All right. Okay, not really a proper zigzag. I think that's why I didn't really take that. Right. So, but looking at what is going to happen next, okay, if we're going to find the next opportunity, I think we should wait for price to get into this place so that we can have a big head and shoulder, right? So you have a shoulder here, head here, and then a shoulder, maybe even a triple top. All right. So around 107 or maybe a little bit above. And then we can find a selling opportunity off here. All right. That's going to be massive in terms of risk reward. So a little bit of patience here, guys. Okay. But in the meantime, if because we can, of course, this looks like a head and shoulder, although it's not really very nice in terms of the comparison of the two shoulders. Okay, but see head and shoulder. So if I'm able to see maybe a correction of this shoulder here. Okay, and and the correction is kind of sluggish, with some kind of correction like this, and then it just pushes up. Let me remove this. Okay, so let's say we have a correction, all right, into this place, and then price just pushes up afterwards, breaking above here. I think that can give us another buying opportunity, a buying opportunity up to this level that we are looking at. So please take note of that. You can use your TTS on the 15-minute time frame to get a buying entry, all right? So you can use them on all the Japanese MPS to find a buy entry. Use your TTS. Can use TTS entry for them. All right. So also CHF. For us, CHF is just moving the way we're actually expecting. And in the last update, we're looking at this ABC, bullish corrective pattern completing here. Okay, but I'm not really going to buy this. I'm just going to wait for price to end this C leg and then look for a selling opportunity. We have a lot of confluences, a 50% retracement of this, a former support on resistance, the channel top of this, a zigzag structure. We just have a lot of things happening around there. All right. So we also have just below, the zone is also just below the 0.68 psychological level. And so if price gets here, please watch out for a reversal signals for sell. Okay, that's one to watch. GBP Z, we're looking at this triangle. So we're not sure whether E has ended here or we're going to still see one more move before price starts dropping. All right. But preferably, I would actually want to see one more move here. But if that doesn't happen and we have a break, below here. If you have a break below here, then definitely we're going to confirm that the E has ended. All right. And then we can then wait for a 50% retracement, sell. All right, 50% retracement, sell. So that means price retraces here, and then we can sell with stop loss here. All right, that's going to be the game plan. But the price pushes up, wait for a reversal pattern on the lower time frame and sell early. Okay, which is going to give us more risk reward ratio. Please take note of that as well. And New Zealand CHF, just the same with Aussie CHF. We're expecting some rally up to this place. We have a lot of important confluences there. Trend line, support on resistance, Fibonacci, psychological around 0.61. Just a lot of them there. So if price gets there, we can look for reversal signal and then a sell opportunity. Okay, this is a very good trend trade. And then CHF Japanese yen. So it's just the same for all the other Japanese yen PS. CHF JPY is also moving up. I expect it to go higher. And we can use our TTS as a confirmation entry for this one. Okay, so just look for a bearish retracement on the TTS to find a setup because this has really, really gone up, right? And I won't really advise to buy at the top. So we just wait for correction. Just wait for correction and then look for new buying opportunity there. And then New Zealand CAD, we talked about this diagonal, this zigzag pattern the other time, right? And we said that we should look for what happened around there. You see reversal signal. So on the 15-minute time frame, that was a reversal signal here, kind of ending the diagonal. So that will have been a selling opportunity. All right, with stop loss here. So that's something you might want to consider to take. Its price is just around that entry now. And then the target can be as much as 0.75, 78.55, which is about 1 to 6 risk reward ratio. Of course, stop loss is going to be a little bit above here. Okay, so that's one. And then Aussie card is also Aussie card is a bit different from that. I don't think this amount is there. It's one of the currency pairs I have on my watches. So let's move to the next one. So USD card. In the last update, we're looking at the USD card completing a head and shoulder. So we have the shoulder, we have the head, we have the shoulder here. So I was looking at two key places for the end of this shoulder. I looked at here and here. So here I look for a bearish setup there, but there wasn't any bearish setup there. So that's why I couldn't be able to sell here, right? The price has moved about 80 pips downwards. So I'm still going to see what happens. Is there going to be a breakout? Is there going to be further move up to this place? We just have to see what's going to happen there. Okay, but right now I'm just standing aside on USD CAD, unless maybe you look at it from another strategy, because this big candle, this bullish candle that broke out of this congested level, is a sign that we could actually see more rally on the USD CAD. So you can see higher highs and higher lows building up, right? See price goes up here, drop here, then break above this top, makes another correction here, could break above this one up to this place. Okay, so how do you take advantage of that? You can use your TTS or any other trend following strategy, all right, to get into next buying, right, on the USD CAD up to 1.3050. Okay, most likely. And then GBPN, for the GBPN, I'm actually looking at it's not really I've not really been able to get a clean and clear setup. So I'm anticipating this diagonal pattern. So we're going to see how this comes up. I'm going to share more update with you on this. And for us in New Zealand dollar, yeah, so we're looking at this diagonal pattern. So please take note of that. Price is very close to the diagonal now. So we might have one more move like this, another dip, and then another move, and then we can then start looking for a bearish opportunity around there. So just zoom down to your lower time frame and look for bearish opportunity around here. All right. So those are the major instruments I'm watching, okay, on my list for this week so far. All right. So if we see very good trading opportunities, we're gonna take it. I'm gonna share more update with you guys on the group. All right. So thank you very much for joining. So if you have any question, you can quickly post it so that we can look at them together. Thank you very much.